Welcome to the Qualified Tutor podcast. I'm your host, Ludo Miller, and I'll be interviewing tutors and thought leaders from across the tutoring landscape to inspire, inform, and motivate you to become the best tutor you can be. The Qualified Tutor community is a safe and supportive space for tutors who love to learn and grow. We offer training, resources, ideas, and a chance to connect with like-minded tutors. If you'd like to continue the conversation, join our Qualified Tutor community at www.qualifiedtutorcommunity.org or find it in the show notes. This week on the Qualified Tutor podcast, we're going to be hearing from our wonderful cohort from the 4th Qualification for Tutors. They've been a brilliant group with a varied mix of experience and perspectives on the content that we have been delivering. These conversations that we have with our alumni after the course are always packed with wonderful advice for those tutors who are looking to get into tutoring or for those who are looking to take part in the course. So please do listen, learn, and hear from those who have taken the course themselves, because they can say it far better than we can. So as we come to the end of the latest cohort we've had, we'd like to thank all of our participants for their contributions and for their ideas. Over this 4-part qualification for tutors, we have looked at a range of topics that we feel are crucial to the fundamentals of tutoring. As we've said before, and we'll say many times again, that the qualification for tutors, this 4-part access course, is really the beginning of a tutor's professional development. There are overviews, there are summaries, and really the key to further learning and to specialist learning that is obviously so important to a tutor and their specific work with children will be in the form of specialist courses that we take in the following tiers of the qualification for tutors. So we started, as we always do, with safeguarding, keeping not only the students safe, but keeping how to keep yourself safe as a tutor. And we then move on to the workshop we call Relationship Matters, because building a relationship with a student is really an incredibly important part of being a tutor. And we looked at largely the areas of positivity, of respect, and of trust. And actually the work that we present in the safeguarding workshop in the form of the 7 Ps helps to form those 3 pillars of positivity, respect, and trust. The third workshop, the Learning Loop workshop, really gives that fundamental teaching and learning understanding that many tutors don't ever receive, but which all teachers receive. So we first advertised the qualification for tutors as teacher training for tutors. But really, it is so much more than that. It is teacher training for tutors, but we've made it specific to tutoring. So we cannot miss out on how to actually tutor and deliver content. And that's why the third workshop is so important, but why the first 2 workshops are very, very specific to tutoring. And we've ended this week, as we always do, with an overview of special educational needs and disabilities, mental health, and well-being in tutoring. These are, of course, overviews, and we can't even begin to explore these in full detail in the hour and a half that we have. But we hope that that's aided participants, as it so often has done in the past. And really, we want to hear from the participants themselves. And the question I'd like to begin with is, very simply and very open-endedly, what have you guys learnt from the course?
I think for me, this last session was the most informative for me, going over the special education needs and how we can help and what to look out for. I think was really important for me.
For me, because I haven't actually done any tutoring before, this is quite a good introduction. And I think there's a lot more to it that I'd never thought about, particularly like the earlier stuff about safeguarding and professionalism, which, even though I felt like I'd be comfortable going in and teaching someone, obviously the planning and preparation and all the other factors that you have to think about, I think it's made that made me much more aware of that.
I think what I'll take from the course is the importance of a professional approach, building a relationship with your student, being adaptable and flexible, in your approach, so you can enable them to move from what they don't know to what they then do know, and to help them to be independent learners, not just at school, but their whole lives.
Some hugely important topics that you've pulled up there, Catherine. First of all, the importance of professionalism and of being seen as, as a professional. That tutors, of course, are, but are often seen more as kind of gap-fill parts of a student's education. But they're not, and actually that ties on beautifully to the second point you mentioned there, which was creating independent learners for life. That really could not be more important to the work that we provide and we present, but also as tutors yourselves to the work that you are doing with a student. Thank you, Catherine. Are there any more thoughts on really that point there and what you guys have learned from these 4 weeks?
I'd never, before this course, I'd never had any training really at all. So I felt like I was kind of just guessing and feeling my way through. But now I feel like I've got a structure of how to plan not just one session with a student, but how you plan a course or a block of sessions with a student and how you develop them over time, and how it's important to not just see one lesson in isolation. One lesson's part of a longer process that you're going through with that student and helping them to develop.
Yeah. And that's where tutoring has been for many years, hasn't it? Obviously not all of tutoring, but there are large parts of tutoring which has gone so unregulated for years, and tutors have been thrown into the tutoring environment unsure of how to begin, where to start, what to look for, how to manage so many of these different areas that other sectors have, weeks, months, years of training for. Tutors have minutes of training for. And if nothing else, this course we hope it gives tutors that ability to sit there and reflect before they begin their first session, before they even start with a student, and they know where they're going to head. And then obviously that first session is all about starting that relationship, understanding where your students are, bringing together so many of those areas that we have covered. And moving on just ever so slightly, there is something that's incredibly important to the qualified tutor ethos, is that we learn from others. And it's something that happens every single cohort, every single workshop, is we hear different angles. And in the workshop just gone, we heard a different angle from our participant, Georgie, who provided a way of viewing the material we have, but in a way that we haven't heard before. And that's really a very important part of these live workshops, is that you learn from the other participants in real time. So I was wondering if you guys could call on any examples perhaps you've had, or any content or kind of any aspects that you have taken from others on the course, and more widely, what have you learned from others?
I think Georgie's input today about her work with kids with ADHD and autism doing outdoor learning is something I hadn't ever really thought about. It's such a fascinating and uplifting way of teaching that, it's definitely something that I'll take into account as a one-on-one tutor. It's something easy to do with just one tutee, and I thought it was a really great input.
I particularly enjoyed workshop 3, where we obviously got the opportunity to prepare a plan with our partner in the breakout room. And it was particularly good for me to hear about first sessions and ways of sort of making it fun as an introduction to obviously begin the assessment of the student, but to, make it an approachable first session. So it was really good to hear from others about their ways of planning first sessions and thinking about it. If you can't get everything in your first session that you had originally planned, thinking on your feet and, having your plan as a model that is obviously evolving all of the time.
Yeah, exactly. It's that constant development, isn't it? And that constant responsiveness and flexibility that we have to bring to the tutoring environment, because that's how students learn. They're not set in one way from the beginning, wherever you may even draw that, kind of imaginary line, wherever the beginning is. And one of the key aspects of working one-to-one with a student is that you're able to be agile and you're able to be flexible. So you have to make the most of that, really, as a tutor. And it's something that teachers aren't afforded. So if we are stepping in to help a student, then we have to be aware of all of these different aspects of a student that relate to their learning. So many of the aspects we've touched on this evening about their well-being and even their mental health and their needs and disabilities, if that is relevant to them, we have to be aware about those things and we have to be responsive. And that really is the bottom line. And now, a brief word from our founder, Julia Silve.
If you'd like to hear more about the ideas we touch on here, or gain the tools to take your own tutoring to the next level, the Qualification for Tutors could be for you. This live online seminar is facilitated by industry experts who, over 4 Zoom workshops, will cover the foundations of teaching and learning and how it relates to you as a tutor. The workshops are full of rich discussions where you'll learn alongside other tutors and connect on a professional level. We will teach you how to be the kind of tutor every child remembers. Visit our community space at qualifiedtutorcommunity.org and sign up now for our transformative course. We'll see you there.
So I wanted really to ask, off the back of that, if there was one kind of standout aspect of these courses that you really enjoyed or you really felt that you took something from, what do you think that would be? Is there something that really perhaps you've never done before in a course, if you've taken them before, or if you've never taken an online course? Is there something about online courses that you feel are very kind of valuable?
I think it's obviously particularly unique how the community sort of sits behind each of the workshops. Because I know obviously in some online courses, obviously you meet the participants, but just for the purpose of the course, and you can't really interact with them between courses or workshops. So I think the community is particularly a great aspect.
I think it's kind of changed my perception of online courses. I didn't think it'd work so well. I felt like you just think that you were just sat behind a computer listening. Whereas with this, doing the breakout session, like each week I've probably become more confident speaking in them and then sharing my views with the group. So I think definitely the format of it has worked quite well.
And
I think it's much more interactive than other courses I've done online, definitely. It's a bit of a learning curve for me, but I've enjoyed it.
And hopefully, if you complete online tutoring yourself, you will that will make you more confident in the online environment as well, because it's not easy just to suddenly start kind of teaching over the online kind of platform. Adrian, is there anything you'd like to add to the end of this, just before we kind of bring to an end this wonderful cohort?
Yeah, I think one of the things for me is that this isn't the end of a journey, but the start of a journey, as Julia said. And as individuals, we are constantly developing and constantly improving. And I just personally from me, I'd just like to thank all of you, because you've entered into the spirit of the collaborative learning process, and you've been so open and honest and shared your ideas and your thoughts with us, and been very, very open. And that's a real strength, and I think it's made the course even better. And I think in terms of online learning, the quality of the course and the emphasis of the course is really about the quality of the participants. And I don't think we could have asked for any more and have a great cohort going through like you guys. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much for all of your contributions, as we said. And also, we'd like to add that you will now be joining, kind of as you have done by completing this, the larger QT alumni network, which will only continue to grow, and which the larger it gets, the more valuable it will be. So thank you all very, very much. I'd just like to say as well, just before the end of this 4-part qualification, as part of your qualification, you did those self-assessment forms at the beginning. And as part of the assessment of this course, you also have a kind of course evaluation that will just look at those questions you were asked at the beginning and how you feel and how confident you feel on those at the end now that you've been through the course. It also serves as a kind of a feedback form for this course so that we can improve the way that we deliver it. And if there are any points that you feel we could work on, that's the place to voice it. But also the community carries on. So this is not the kind of final Wednesday and we say goodbye and we never speak again. This is the start. This is getting to know you kind of face to face over 4 weeks of sessions and furthering that journey with you. So it is a course requirement to fill out the self-evaluation form, and as soon as you've sent that out, as soon as you've returned that, I promise within 5 minutes, we will have sent you the certificate of completion, and you will then have that to use in your own promotion. So if there are no more questions on that, it's just before 10 p.m. Somehow we've managed to keep it within 2 hours. Thank you all very, very much once again, and we will speak to you all very soon.
The community. See you soon.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye. You guys have been amazing. I'll miss you next week.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you, Georgie. We'll see you next week, Georgie.
Yeah, see you next week.
See you, Catherine. See you, Adem. See you,
Bye,
Josh.
Lee.
Bye.
Bye.
Catherine.
See you. See you next week, Georgie. See you, Catherine.
Thanks for listening to the Qualified Tutor podcast, where tutors share their expertise to support the tutoring community. If you'd like to continue the conversation, join our Qualified Tutor community at www.qualifiedtutorcommunity.org or find it in the show notes below. We exist to connect, share, and learn with you because tutoring is a small job that makes a big difference.